be able to have this conversation on this platform and have your support just means so much. And I can't wait to hear about your life, your story, what you've been going through these years. Since I've known you, I've just known so much about you when we've been in each other's lives back in London. So, and now we're in different parts of the world and moving on. So, how's life for you these days?
Well, thank you for having me, Wasim. I feel very honored that you thought of me for your website, your podcast. And like we've known each other for quite a long time. And at the same time, I think we've been quite a big support for each other. And I just feel very grateful that we've been able to keep in touch, even though I think it's been like 10 years now. It's been, literally 10 years since we've actually met in person. So that's really exciting. And to see how we both grew, from life experiences, career-wise, and other things. So, thank you so much for having me.
As far as I think we connected a lot on career. That has been a very strong theme in our lives, and especially as artists as well. I mean, you're a singer and songwriter as an artist, and your passion and dedication to art has been a real, I had a lot of issues at the time, in terms of giving myself permission to follow the artistic path. And there's so much in that journey that, I think a lot of people would really benefit from hearing your journey so far, and the permission you can give yourself, in terms of maybe not always being so like one track minded, like maybe, I'm curious to see if you can share what your journey has been so far in this path. And
Thank you so much. Like, you actually introduced me as singer-songwriter, which when we met, I was very, very, I was considering very, very strongly doing it professionally. And after I left London, just different factors made me actually like not stop singing completely, but steer away from that. I guess intuitively, I also felt it wasn't the time to pursue it in a strong way, and that I had other things to accomplish first. I'm actually very moved that this is how you've introduced me. And I'm actually starting now more and more to practice singing again, and I have 2 musicians now. We started to rehearse songs, a guitarist and a cello player. And just this summer is when I've started to have the space and felt like I can start putting some actions and attention on the music part of me. Because for the last 10 years, I've had a journey that, like, I've done several various things. I've always had more than one passion at a time. I know you have those who, they know, okay, this is the career that I'm going to do, and that's it, and they pursue it, and, they're very focused. And we really need those people. They're very, to have experts on one particular topic. And I remember actually at university, I had seen this TED Talk, which I can't remember the name of the person who gave it and the title, but it was something about acknowledging that there are some who actually are kind of social butterflies, but career-wise. And that you need those who also will connect. They'll make a bridge between different practices or careers or subjects. And that's really how I see myself. sometimes it's difficult because then I can just want to do this and this and this at the same time, and then I don't start any of it because I'm like, but which one do I start first? But yeah, like in the last 10 years, I've done a lot of different things career-wise that don't necessarily seem linked, but they've all made sense in reaching to where I am today. And there was something, for some reason, just intuitively 10 years ago, I felt for some reason before pursuing like a career in music more seriously. I mean, I did it for, I think it was a year that I was trying to take steps. But there were different blockages. Like it just, I could feel at some, there were some times where I felt if I want to do it, I can. I have the contacts. I can go, but there was something in me that told me, no, you have to. And particularly for me, I felt, so to give another anecdote of when I was in London, I was able to attend a talk by Amy Wage, who's one singer-songwriter who wrote one of the top hits for Ed Sheeran. Oh gosh, why did I forget the title? I forgot it right now. Anyways, it's like one of his like in the top 3 of Ed Sheeran songs that she wrote. I have the melody in my head, but I can't remember the title of the song. And she had expressed in the talk how, well, it's interesting. My career didn't come at a time that's, where most people do it. My career in music. I had my family first. I raised my children. And then I felt now it's time. And she had her husband's support to go all in music. And when she shared that, there was something that really just resonated in my heart. And I felt, for some reason, there's no logic to it, right? I'm a big believer in listening to your intuition. And that's where, life took me to where I was supposed to be every time and to places where I wasn't even expecting. So like, I'm a big believer in that. And so there wasn't a logic. I mean, I guess there was part logic, but it was mainly, it just resonated in my heart. And I felt, for some reason, I feel like I need to first build a family before I pursue that, like properly. So, so then, yeah. And I don't know if it exactly what it was, if it was a frustration about that realization of other things, but then there was a point where I even stopped singing, even listening to music was difficult. I think there's other things that are linked to it, but I steered away from it for a bit. And now that fire, that flame is starting to come back again and rise. And I think I just had to do also a lot of healing work the last 10 years to get to that place. So yeah, and so what I did the last 10 years actually worked 3 years as a translator, which is not even linked to my field of studies or my other passion. So there's music on one hand. Really, if I was to say my 2 biggest passions are music, and for me, because of how healing it is and how I feel like one of the biggest reasons I'm still here today is because of music. Like, music accompanied me so much, especially when I was a teenager. And on the other hand, my other passion is mental health, healing. Just for me, they're linked, but also family, like as in healthy family, breaking transgenerational patterns. I mean, it's all part of healing. Anything that has to do with healing the emotions, the mind, the heart,
Right.
And I studied education, and there was such psychology in it. So Actually, when we met in London, I was working in schools, which wasn't
Right.
even like I wasn't doing music as the principal, like main thing, but I was working in education in schools and as a social worker also at some point. And so, yeah, and then I did translation, and it gave me a
Wow.
break to think, what is it that I really want? And it's actually during that time where, again, there was no logic, absolutely no logic as to why. It just, my heart told me this is what you're supposed to do. So this is how I ended up doing translation, moving to a new country. Doing translation, that's where I met my husband. And then after that, so after these 3 years, that's when I started as a life coach. Because I felt that before, with whether it was my friends, my colleagues, even my work when I was working in education or social work, without knowing it, I was doing life coaching. And when I was in search of answers, like, okay, after translation, I'm done with translations now. I've had enough. It allowed me to, gosh, I forgot my train of thought. But yeah, it gave me this break of really knowing what I want to do. And then that's when, I was in search for answers. What am I supposed to do next? And again, I was just, okay, God, universe, can you show me the way? And that's when I realized, wait, but all these videos that I watched in my past time are all about life coaching. And without knowing, I don't know, for some reason, that word didn't stick. I just, like, everything just like a puzzle started to make sense and it came together. And then, so it's been 6 years now that I'm formally doing life coaching. And then another thing, while I was doing translation, I experienced for the first time going to a chiropractor and to receiving energy healing. So I had heard about energy healing before, like Reiki. I had friends who were trained in it, and for some reason I wasn't thinking much about it. Like, I was open to it, but not actively doing something about it either. And until then, I was thinking, the way to heal is to talk. You just talk it out to heal. And I experienced my first energy healing session, who I received from a friend. I was like, wow, at the end of it, I did not say a word. And I feel this is gone, this bitch is gone. And same with the chiropractor. It's funny, he was doing sound bath also. So once I did, it wasn't like a proper chiropractic. What would you call that in English? Anyways, it wasn't like a proper, just a sound bath. He did a sound bath with all the, different balls around me. And it was crazy. Like, he would hit one ball and there was, I don't know, some difficult emotion or thought that was getting amplified. Like, I don't know, some anxiety or whatever was getting amplified. And then he would hit another one and poof, it was gone, like out of my system. And again, without saying a word. And I was like, wow, actually, there's ways without talking that can actually be more powerful. Like, how much is stored in the body and in our energetic self. And so then I started getting trained so I've known since I'm a teenager that I have intuitive gifts, but I just hadn't met other people like me, let's say. So it's not something that I had explored much. But after that, I was like, I want to train just for myself. So I already had some gifts, so I did training to be a Reiki master. And it was just initially for me. And then some clients that heard that I'm doing that, they asked for sessions. And then I saw how, wow, you do, like, I would do one life coaching session with them. And somehow it seemed like there was a point we couldn't pass over. Like, there was a blockage, even through, with the life coaching tools that I had, like, there was something blocked. They couldn't, move further. we would do an energy healing session after that,
Right.
and then we'd come back to coaching, and it was like gone, and we could go like 10 times faster. So I started to incorporate that more, and then yeah, and then I became a mother, and so like
Yeah.
this was a little bit on just doing things here and there. My son is gonna be 4, and yeah, now I feel like I want to put more, like it was motherhood was the main focus for the last like 4 years. Like I still obviously was able to be available for clients. I did sessions. And it was very interesting because motherhood also like opened up a lot of things in me, and the sessions I do now are different than before. And I feel like career-wise,
Right.
like motherhood, it's not considered as a career, but motherhood I feel is the most important career I've ever done in my life, the most important work I've done in my life. So that was like, I don't know, it just opened up so many different things also that I can now put to service to others also outside of the family. And yeah, and now I feel like it's a time for me to, like, I do have more time and energy now to focus more on my career again and think of how I can be of service to uplift others, whether it's through music or through, you know, my coaching / energy healing work. And I feel so the two are sort of linked, and the music now is impacted by the energy healing side of me and vice versa. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. It was quite long because I just did so many different things. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, wow, what a journey! First of all, what a journey that you had the courage to explore so many different parts and listen to your heart. You know, that's a very I feel like nowadays, especially, so many people are following kind of like trends or kind of what you should be doing, you know, more than just looking within and trusting in your own abilities and your own intuition. And that's something I mean, I'd love to, you know, explore this more deeply actually in terms of your connection to singing and healing, and how you discovered, you know, that both singing and healing have that connection. You know, I think a lot of people think I have to make it in this career and I have to be fully focused and there's one specific direction to follow, or a formula, you could say. There's a formula, but from what you're sharing, you know, and I think it's encouraging for many to hear, is that, you know, I think there's no formula, especially when you listen to your heart, you know, and yeah, I wonder if that's something you just discovered through experience, or every path is unique, of course, but, you know, I'm curious how you discovered the connection between your life as a mother, your life as a healer, and how that could impact, in turn, your path as a singer, you know, and following your passion. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really goes back to when I was a teenager, and music really helped me through tough times, like really tough times. And the thing for me that was very important, I guess, and that I could relate to and that was impactful were the lyrics in the song. So there's one thing, the melody is one thing, but the lyrics and feeling heard and feeling seen. And there's something about music that really also helps to intensify and release trapped emotions. When we're sad, we're gonna listen to a sad song, right? And then after we've done that enough, we feel like, okay, we feel a little bit better, and then we can switch to more joyful songs or whatever. But it really helps with the release of that emotion. And then my other passion, like I knew since childhood that like I don't know, already before I was 10 years old, like even like primary school time, I was very aware that something I do when I'm an adult is help people heal who've been through trauma. Obviously, I didn't have that vocabulary, but I was going through a traumatic childhood myself. And I don't know where that hope was coming from, or my ability from such a young age to look into the future and, okay, I'm going to be an adult. Things are going to be better. I'm going to be able to help people heal from what I've been through. And so I had that awareness. At first, I thought I'm going to be a teacher, but because I didn't know of other careers that are possible that are just focused on helping people heal and grow and deal with their emotions and trauma. Like at first I was thinking I want to be a teacher to be able to notice the kids that are going through a hard time. And outside of the subject that I'm teaching, I wasn't interested in teaching a subject, but more, as a teacher, doesn't matter what I'm teaching, but I'm able to come and assist, kids who, I think there were so many times where there were signs that I'm going through something not normal. And that if teachers were trained, they would have been able to recognize some of these signs and help me. And as a teenager, I was so aware, like, okay, I'm going to be a teacher for teenagers so that I can notice and help these kids who haven't been noticed like I have. I mean, there's been, I can think of, one or two teachers who I felt seen, but it was only so much that they did, maybe. Like, it wasn't a direct conversation about what I was going through, but feeling seen and assisted by, like, a couple of teachers without sharing details. I don't know how to, I mean, I'm not going to maybe dwell too much in that aspect, but the whole, like, so when I was a teenager, there was that education part of being aware, if only there were adults who could accompany me and assist me. But then I had music that was able to do that for me. And, the more I grew up, the more I started learning about more career possibilities. I know that I really wanted to be a psychologist. That was the thing that I really, really was passionate about and that I wanted to do. I just, like, my parents didn't let me do it. I mean, one parent in particular just was not open to me doing it, which I understood later on why. But that passion for psychology stayed. And I'm very, very privileged that I was able to go study a course. I don't know if there's another course exactly like that, but I mean, it's childhood studies, but there was psychology in it. So by choosing the path of education, I was able to study a bachelor's degree that also had child development, child psychology, so all these psychology subjects. And actually, it's really, like, I'm very grateful that, because so much happens in childhood, so even the people I work with, naturally it's childhood that's going to come up. So I'm very great. Like, again, there's a reason why that happened. Doesn't matter, why I wasn't able to do full-on psychology, but the fact that it was childhood education, there's a reason for that, I'm sure. And the final year dissertation, I think, or final year project, we were able to do it on anything that had to do with childhood or education or psychology. Basically anything. Yeah, it had to be childhood. So anything that had to do with childhood or education. And the I chose to study the positive impact of music on the well-being and development of young people. And so through that, I learned so much more the link between the two, between healing and music, and how like, there's so many that are, like teenagers are the ones who listen the most to music.
Right. Yeah.
And why is that? Because they go through the most intense emotions. Like the development of their brain at that point, they go through emotions that are a lot more intense. And music helps regulate emotions.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, when you're sad and you listen to sad music, it helps you, you know, soothe it, regulate it, and then you can move on to, or when you're sad and you put joyful music, you're able to match, you know, slowly that. There's so many ways that music can be used for healing and well-being. There was a part that was also about, you know, the unity that is felt, for example, at concerts and festivals.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. Yeah.
And how, yeah. And also across all cultures, like you'll listen to music from another culture without understanding the lyrics. You'll know whether it's a sad or a happy song.
Yeah.
And so there's that link. Well, it's a good, your podcast being Crosswired,
Right. Yeah.
so and the culture. So well, that's what a link here. So there's yeah. So then I understood also more why as a teenager it helped me. But yeah. So again, the link between the two. And I interviewed kids about particularly how they felt about music being at school, like music as a subject or whatever. And all of them, they shared how in music they're able to express themselves and emotions in ways that they can't in other subjects, and that there's not enough music in schools. And when you look at schools today, you know, especially teenagers that have a lot of interesting and important things to say,
right,
they're not listened. Say, learn that, learn this, that, you know, it's just, let's try to fill you and, you know, keep you well behaved and
yeah,
yeah, and it's there's not that part of, but what are they experiencing? Not a lot of adults listen to what they're really going through. They don't have it like all the other subjects, whatever, you know, like at school, there's not really a space to talk about emotions, how you feel, how you're seeing the world, especially today. I mean, the reality of the world today is not even like 10 years ago. So there's even more of a need of a space for teenagers to be able to express themselves about what they're going through. And they all expressed how that was a place where they could express themselves, where they could feel heard, and how it was such an important thing for them to be able to have more music in schools. And I made friends while I was doing that research who were actually doing projects in schools, like songwriting. They were going into schools and helping the children do songwriting, and the way they were trying to influence also very amazing. Again, lyrics are so powerful because also if you're having, if as a teenager you're angry, depending on the type of song or music that you're going to choose, you know, either it's going to go in a direction where it's going to be destructive, or it's going to be expressed healthily, and then you can do something good with it. And so I had these friends who were working in schools where actually, like, for example, gangster rap was something that was very much listened to. So I lived in Birmingham at the time. That's where I did my studies. And, you know, there were gang issues and things like that. And my friends they would go into schools and show that you can have rap that's more conscious. That's not about violence and swear words and degrading women. And that would help, you know, the teenagers write their own songs that had more meaning, where they could express themselves more fully. And yeah, so the impact on music, of music on teenagers. When I was doing my studies, I think I made the point of writing in it, in my project, that I thought at that time that actually music artists, you know, depending on, like, actually had more influence than parents.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I believe that for sure. I believe that with a lot of modern day pop singers, definitely as well. There's a lot of like huge influence. There's a huge influence that they have on the young generation and how they think and the choices they make, the priorities that they put in life, kind of the values as well. Like there's so much, you know, in lyrics that, I mean, I'm just thinking about, like, I never take the time to really think about, like, wow, lyrics, you know, have so much impact, like, on the psyche of people, and how I mean, just your story just illuminated how lyrics were one of the, like, strong, like, cornerstones of your motivation, and it can be a benefit, it can be a great thing, a gift, or it can also be that, you know, it can also be destructive from what you're sharing, that there's like there's two sides to it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's so much to unpack. I mean, every your path is just so rich. It's so rich, and it's so there's so much that I feel like people will be able to take away. What I want is that people can take away a sense of, I can give myself permission to follow whatever is in my heart, you know, and it doesn't have to be conventional. It doesn't have to be the right way, you know, and that takes a lot of courage, you know, to go against, you know, the flow or the majority of how, like, you know, how you achieve your goals, especially. So, like, you've enriched your life in so many areas, and that in turn can even enrich your, you know, your artistry as a singer even more deeply, from what I'm understanding, you know, how your path is unfolded. And I mean, with that, I do wonder, because you've spoken a lot about you've spoken a lot about your connection to healing and to your path as a healer as well. A lot of artists, you know, as you know, tend to have had experiences that are, you know, traumatic, or, as you shared, or challenging, you know, and that enriches your soul, that enriches your experience of life. But in terms of the tools that you've discovered through healing, and I'm wondering if you're able to talk about, like, the different tools that you've been able to both implement in yourself and to others, and in what you do as a life coach as well, you know, like how you're able to offer that platform, and what kind of tools that you're able to, you know, offer. It'd be interesting to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I feel like I haven't, I like,
Yeah.
while you were sharing that, like even before I jump into this,
Mm.
um, like when we met, we were definitely at that point of, okay, we need to listen even more to our dreams. And um, yeah, we've helped each other quite a lot, I feel, on our journeys of um, just going towards our dreams and doing unconventional things, you know, when a lot of the world is like, okay, logic, this, that, and then, you know, we connected on the fact of listening to our heart and
Mm.
soul, you know, where do we feel guided to go? And we've had, I think, like so many deep and interesting and uplifting conversations throughout the year. I mean, the years, like it's been 10 years, no, more than that,
More, yeah.
11 years,
Yeah.
over 11 years that we've known each other. Um, yeah, and it's very interesting. I just remember now, there was also a time where um, you had to do some singing for an audition.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and the the fact that you were like, oh, but I can't sing. I can't remember if you said that, but it was something you were definitely not confident in being able to sing. And I was like, anyone can sing with the right techniques. And it only took a few things for you to actually be able to do it really well.
Mm.
Like I do
Mm.
remember, like, you know, and and actually, well, there's a link to coaching with that. Like um so many things that we sometimes feel like, oh, I can't do that. We tell ourselves this.
Mm.
When
Mm.
actually, no, with the right tools, you can do anything you want. But I'm wondering how you felt with the, you know, when we did the singing together and helping you with the audition, and you realizing that, I don't know if there was any realization or anything deep around that, but how how did that experience impact you, and how did you feel, you know, going from,
Mm.
oh, I can't really sing, to, oh, actually I'm able to do it? And how did it feel, like emotionally, in terms of also like mindset? Did it impact you in any way?
It's interesting because I'm actually just going back into, it's a very like small stint, but it's a local choir group that I'm joining in Cairo, and it brought me back to the times where I felt like unconfident as to sing, and I've been reflecting on like what you experience now as an adult and what you experienced at a time much younger. It's very interesting how your belief system can like impact the way you show up in in work and in things like even hobbies like singing, that to me I never thought that I would take seriously. But yeah, I mean, looking back then, I feel like just the fact that I was guided and had like a sense of support and feeling like I'm not alone, in trying this out, and trying just I'm gonna give it a shot, Um, I felt like it was more possible. It was just more possible for me to believe in it. And I feel like as an adult, you have to, I guess, I'm wondering, with the tools that you have in coaching, is it, because I've been trying to apply, my own tools in therapy, and when it comes to giving yourself what you need rather than relying on others, which there is a balance to it. There is a balance between having that encouragement that, is very important. But there's also that like, oh, I can look at myself and see how I can show up, and what are the belief systems that are inhibiting me,
Mm.
and choosing something else. So, yeah, I'm interested to see if that's something you've noticed. Like, there's been a process, in terms of like how you were back as a your younger self and now, and how like life can enrich and kind of give you a different perspective on how you show up.
You mean in terms of the tools in my coaching, the energy healing? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I mean, specifically, like, yeah, with coaching and energy healing, I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from like specific, guidance or help. But I'm sure there are tools, or I'm wondering if there are tools that you kind of tend to that you've discovered that has helped you or others, in actualizing themselves or expressing what they are passionate about.
Gosh, like I think again, just like for everything else, depends what resonates with the person. Because a tool that's gonna work for you is maybe not the same that's gonna work for me. And also, there's such a thing as when for example talking about trauma, like being trauma informed in my practice, there are certain things that people are ready to unlock and explore and release. And for some, it's not time yet because of different reasons, the environment they're in, their readiness. If you were to push them to do that, then it could do more damage. So it's listening to oneself. I mean, I know that something that's helped me a lot, I mean, journaling has been one. We can think of something that we can do on our own. Well, obviously music. Listening to music, singing, any creative, like maybe some people it's going to be dancing. Art forms can help a lot. But I know that for me, some of the most transformative things I've done has actually been going to other practitioners. So seeing myself, other people who accompany me, therapists, energy healers, and the same way that, you can't look at your own eyes. So having someone who sees what you can't. And so like different things that have really helped me. And also there's life experience that are unique to everyone. Like one thing that really helped me is family constellations. And that's something that I'm training myself to be able to also organize them, because like they're just, I don't know whether to go into details as to what it is, but I tell people to at least research about it. It's a way to break transgenerational patterns, and also embody things, be able to take actions in a safe place before you're able to also in real life. Different actions that you need to take, like whether it's putting a boundary, expressing, I don't know, something in your career. So that has been very, very helpful to me. For me, so often also when we do the change just for us and the healing just for us, I mean, of course, it's very important. But often we're not going to be as motivated to do it until we think of also who else we're doing it for. And
Wow,
so
that's really powerful. That's really an added layer that I think a lot of people don't take into consideration. I think a lot of emphasis nowadays is like, me, how can I, just for myself, how can I be better all the time? And this is like, so, yeah, we forget that this is, yeah.
But the world right now is going, even when it comes to coaching and therapy and all this, is going a lot more into me. And like, oh, I need my boundaries. Which it's very important. But when you look at it, like there's the individual that also, if you have your boundaries, if you take better care of yourself, you show up in the world different. You show up for someone else different. And so we're actually wired to be altruistic. And so it can be a missing piece for a lot of people in their healing, because it's like, oh, for me, yeah, but for yourself, are you really going to have the courage to do this and this and this uncomfortable thing? No. And for me, what gave me the courage to do things that honestly I don't know if I would have had the strength to do difficult decisions, difficult things, was the thought of my future children.
Yeah.
Like, really, I'm like, yeah, for me, yeah, I can take this crap or whatever, like, yeah, okay, like if it's just me, I can handle like this thing that is not very good for me. I can take it, yeah, it's not very good for me, but I can take it. Even if it's, for example, like bad behavior from someone that's impacting you, and that's then impacting your ability to serve others properly. It's like, yeah, but it's just me. Like, and we often think, oh, it's just me who's impacted. No. And like, I realized that I can handle it for me. But if it gets passed on to my kids, no way. For my future kids, this stops with me. Like, it really stops with me. And that gave me the courage to do things that were very difficult, but necessary. And I know that there's some steps that I took before I was pregnant. And I was like, wow, like it was honestly, like some things, took a lot of grieving, took a lot of, I know we were in touch during that time. I think that was like about 5 years ago. We were in touch during that time. So, like what I was going through, but it was really like a lot that was in my subconscious that came to my awareness. And it was so painful, like some of the things that I realized. And at the same time, it was very painful, but doing what I needed to do, like it was for myself first, yes, but like with the thought of my future children and how I show up for my future children, if I continue like this or if I stop, and so like stopping certain things before I was even pregnant, I was like, wow, I have all this amount of energy that I had no idea that was taken away from me. Like, for example, but so that was something that was able to benefit me before even I had kids. But it was also, I wouldn't have taken these steps. It wasn't in the thought of, I want to preserve my future kids from that. And so like motherhood definitely has transformed me in a way that's like, if this impacts me, or if I'm not doing the work on myself about this, my son, my innocent son, he's the one who's going to get the backlash. And that's not fair on him.
Wow. So there's like a greater sense of responsibility and awareness of how your presence, your being impacts, others, and how it impacts people. And I feel like that awareness itself, like I'm a believer that everything you do, even in the most kind of like unrelated things, like you think family is not related to your career as a singer, but you know what you're developing and growing in as a mother, and you know from what you're sharing is that is like expanding your awareness and growth, that even as you progress in your singing career and your path in that, in what you love to do, it's like you're able to transfer those things into your work, into how you even relate to, like, I mean, when this is a whole other topic, but I mean, I won't go into too much depth, but in terms of like art, great artists tend to, you know, have tended to achieve great success. Singers, you know, a lot of singers that come to mind and have impacted the world in such a way, but their lives were short-lived. You know, they had self-destructive behaviors. And so that itself is like an example of, wow, like, yeah, your personal life and how you operate impacts so much your career and how you live your life.
We're all interlinked somehow. Because like something that for example, like I know for me there's transgenerational things that have needed to be healed. Like I've had energy healers working on like on me, like unlocking different things, bringing to consciousness, okay, there's been these patterns, and you know, to break them. Even just consciousness, you know, being conscious of some patterns helps to break. And I'll give an example of a session I had with a client. So I had a client come for a session, and in sessions with me, I combine coaching and energy healing depending on what the person needs, or usually in 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Well, 1.5 hours, I have time to do some coaching as well. But usually it's either going to be like 1 hour of energy healing or coaching. And the two are a little bit different because energy healing, intuitively, there's going to be a lot of information that comes to me that I'm going to basically pass on to the client. And that's going to help them realize things and break patterns. Plus, also, there's that work that's done energetically of releasing things that we don't necessarily see, but are in our system and are blocking us without us realizing. For anyone who hasn't done energy healing, it's really hard to describe until you've gone to one. Like, as I said, I had heard of energy healing, and I just wasn't sure whether to believe it or not, or like I was just skeptical until I had the experience and I became an energy healer. I mean, I guess I already was, but then I started using my skills and my gifts. And then the coaching is more where I'm going to accompany the person to find their own solutions. So it's more, my intuition will guide me sometimes in terms of where to take the questions in the conversation, but it's mostly the person will do it. But when it comes to energy healing, and as I said, like sometimes in coaching, we haven't been able to progress, and then we do one energy healing session and boom, it's like something, like a wall is gone and we can just keep going forward. And so I had this client who came in, and she was trapped in a relationship that she knew wasn't right. The person was very controlling. Like, you know, you'd meet her and you would not even expect her to be in a relationship like that. She was, I mean, she is. I'm still see her from time to time, but she's this person. When you meet her, she's joyful. She has such a good energy. There's something strong that comes, like, I don't know, there's some strength to her that you can feel. And so she was in that relationship where the man was controlling everything in her life. He was controlling whether she was allowed to travel or not. You know, for example, like even to visit, she's from Ooh, I can't remember it. Oh, that's really bad. My memory since I'm a mom is not as good. I have so much packed into my brain. I can't remember the exact country, so I'm not gonna. I think it's Chile. But anyways, Latin America. She's from Latin America, and so like, and to give the context, I live in the south of France right now. So it was a person that came in person. So it wasn't a I do remote sessions, and I also do in person for those who live in my city. So anyway, she's living in France, and like her partner then was even like I don't know. She had to ask permission to even go back to see her family. It was like a whole thing. It was very strange. And I think at that time she did take the courage to go and see her family anyways when there was something weird about it. But the backlash that he gave her after that, and the jealousy, and so like obviously a very toxic and not a relationship that wasn't good. And it's like she was trapped in that relationship, and at the same time it just wasn't right, and she was obviously having a lot of questions about that situation. And again, appearance, a very free woman, like you wouldn't expect. Why would she be trapped in a relationship like that? And so I started doing the energy healing session. So the way it works, at least the way I do it, every energy healer will do it differently. But I first go from, like, I work with chakras. So I go from the top one. Like I just scan and see if there's a place my hand will have a harder time to move through a chakra that's blocked. So I go and then I check if there's already things. And then I don't just get information on chakras, like it's just over time. So in the beginning I was doing Reiki, and then over time I'm seeing energy healing because I combine different kinds of techniques, including just my own intuition, like just things that I already had naturally. And so through the session, sometimes I'll get information, I'll see things, like I'll just get some clues. And through the session, I started to see chains. And so, and I understood that it meant that she had ancestors that had been slaved.
Oh, wow.
So she had slaves as ancestors, but I'm like, that's the thing. I have this intuition, but I'm human. So I'll always be like, okay, this is what comes. We'll see if it resonates with the person or not. I had no clue. I was like, okay, well, I'll we'll see what she says after, if that resonates, if it's true or not. Like I'll always check and say, okay, if that resonates. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Like I'm human. All intuitives, for me, they should really say that all of us do mistakes. Or, we might interpret something and it's not completely right. But I'll say that 95% of the time it is. So I also check. So I saw these chains. Okay, their ancestors are slaves. And then I could see that after the slavery was over, in terms of like actual slaves, it did continue in the form of then women in the family being enslaved to, in French there's that expression, patriarcat. Patriarchy. Yeah. So it was like they were enslaved to the patriarchy, and the women, even if they had dreams, it was very clear that they were trapped as slaves to the family. And so that transgenerational trauma continued, but through a different form. The thing also that was very interesting is that I saw that her family, the way of healing, there was something about dance. It kept coming back. That they danced a lot in her family, and that was their ways of processing things and healing. So that's the art form that came to me. But anyways, there was that thing okay, so the slavery from the beginning got passed down, and then the women became slaves to the family. And then, how did it get passed on to her? She was in a country away from her family. So she was not even enslaved or in the patterns of her family. She was free. She had her own career. In appearance, she was supposed to be free. There was no, and so anyway, so through the session, I'll remove the energetic blocks around that.
Right.
And then after the session, I talk about what I saw. So then I told her, well, did you have ancestors who were slaves? And she said, yes, like so many. And so like, obviously that was a confirmation. And so I also told her about that dancing is very healing in her family. And she says, yeah, in my family we dance a lot. And so my advice to her was, like try to do more dancing if you can, because that's something that's going to help you like through what you're going. But anyways, when I told her and how like she was telling me her grandma, she had these dreams and she could never do them, and they were not supposed to be heard, and they just had to basically serve the family. Everything spoke to her. And just that awareness and how she was continuing that pattern when she didn't have to, helped her, boom, unblock. She left that relationship, and she's able to live a more free life, like literally free, where she doesn't have someone like repeating that. Like she's not. So that's like, these are things that by yourself, it's hard because again, you can't see your own eyes. It's just like me. There's a level of healing that I could not have done if I hadn't gone to see other people who were able to give me information about me that were in my blind spots. And so that's some of the things that I do in my work. Yeah, like or blocked emotions around grieving also is something that's a little bit more new. And again, in transgenerational trauma, like, yeah, I mean, there's so much I could talk about.
Right.
I don't know if you want me to develop on that, but yeah, there's, I'm just trying to think if anything else has helped. I mean, I know for me, all these, yeah, like family constellation and going to energy healers, like going to a chiropractor. I mean, it's a type of energy healing too, that's helped. But yeah, just getting accompanied. You go so much further and faster when you're accompanied by someone who holds a safe space for you and who's able to see your blind spots and has this ability to also help you, guide you, find the solutions. And I'm a work in progress. Like, I'm accompanying people on these topics, and it's not me. So I have this external neutral eye on the situation. But there's things like, right now, what I'm working on personally is the fear of being seen. And I know that that's a big factor as to why the whole singing part of me slowed down. So, and like, for me, for this, I feel like I have the tools now, not just singing, but just, my work also. I have things to offer. I have things to share when it comes to like energy healing or coaching. There's a course that I'm starting to prepare on meeting, like the process of being ready and then choosing the right partner in your life, because I see around me so many families, they break up when the kids are very young, and just that lack of consciousness of being ready and then choosing the right partner. So I'm building I think there's a lot of experts on when you're in a relationship, how to sustain it, how, but not, I feel like that part, I don't know about you, maybe you can confirm that or not. I feel like there's not a lot about that in between, from the moment you're ready to meet a partner, how to get ready, and then making the right choice. And all so anyways, that's
interesting. Yeah.
I'm trying to build. I don't want to be an expert in that. I've just seen the need for it. And so what is blocking me in sharing all these things is the fear of being seen. And for me, it's just intuitively, I know that right now, the way to heal that is to take action, to just act despite the fear.
Right. Right. Right.
and to just do
Yeah.
it. And so again, for everyone, it's going to be different, and you'll know intuitively. If you like, that's also a whole thing that like people need to learn. Those who are not connected, how to listen more intuitively. What is my intuition saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I
No?
wanted to, I
Yeah.
guess, close to end on because we're over an hour and
Oh
a
yeah.
half. But there's so much, that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just hit one of the core aspects, which I think I've heard you repeat quite often, and I think repetition is really good because it shows that you're relying on something that has helped
Mhm.
you, and that is the concept of intuition. That's
Yeah.
the concept of intuition, even when deciding what modes of healing to go, which coach to work with. I mean, that's something I've heard from you, is that like you always, like when I worked with you, you were saying, it's up to you, listen to yourself as well. You see how you feel, and
Yeah.
that is like such an important thing, because I think even this industry as well, I wonder, is like there's so many trying to sell this solution, or trying to kind of like promote that they have the answer, they can read you completely, they can like fix you, or like, and it's an interesting, it's an interesting thing where there are gifted teachers like you, and there are teachers who are also, you know, maybe not, and they just have it,
Yeah.
are just like any industry.
And it
But
depends on the intention. And that's why I say accompany and not help. You have the tools to help yourself. Just you taking the courage to come to me, like I'm talking about just clients in general, for example, you're the one taking the action. You're the one helping yourself. I'm only here to accompany. And it's a
yeah.
whole different thing because that means like I'm holding your hand and we're going to the same direction. I'm not looking at you from above. I don't know better than you. I don't. It's just that somehow I have tools to help you find the answers. And yeah, and with the whole transgenerational trauma thing, I mean, again, it's tools, but I'm giving them to you, and then it's in your hands. Like, I've also seen people going to therapists and they're not going forward because they're too scared to then take the action. Then what did the therapist do? It's all in the hands of the person. But when it comes to intuition, if I can share just a couple tools, because you were asking me for tools, and then I don't know why, like that was just obvious ones that I could share talking about intuition. There's one thing, when it feels right, usually, I hope that can help people like resonate with it. And when something feels right, usually people will tend to feel an opening in the heart, like it feels like it's opening. And when it doesn't feel, and even if there's fear, because sometimes fear can be excitement, but there is this opening. When it doesn't feel right, it's very subtle sometimes.
Right.
So it's just that
Yeah.
awareness just being aware of it can hopefully help. When it doesn't feel right, the heart will feel like it's closing. Does it make sense? I don't know if
Oh,
that
I
speaks to you.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Um, so that's one tool. And then another one, it's muscle testing. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
you mentioned it.
I did
Yeah.
share, yeah, I shared it
Yeah.
with you, but I can't remember if I shared with you how to do it, because I know we mentioned it recently. But um, like one very simple one is making 2 rings with your fingers, like whichever you're comfortable. But basically, um, let's say my name is Leva. Doesn't matter how hard you're gonna try to pull them apart, they don't pull apart. And then if I say my name is Wasim,
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
body
Yeah.
knows it's not true, and it
Yeah.
will just let go. You can have, like putting your arm up, and then someone like my name is Leva, my name is Wasim, and then so there's different kinds of muscle testing that is possible. I know there's some other people. I mean, people who want to look more of it, like if they Google, I'm sure muscle testing intuition, there's a lot more techniques. But I know I have nails, but I know that there's some people who do like different techniques with their fingers to see if, you know, they can push it down or not. But this one is I feel a very simple one. And again, just being aware of we're humans, and even this, like, sometimes it will, like, can I say, to not rely completely on it all the time. But for me, for sure, most of the time, it really, really works. I think sometimes when we overuse it, then it's,
Right.
but again, everyone will feel if it feels right or not. And sometimes also when the search for answers, and when sometimes it's just not the right time to know the answer. So you can do this all you want, and it's not going to give you the right answer because it's just not the time. But yeah, but that's other reflections that can go on with that.
Yeah, wow. Again, been such a rich and multi-layered conversation that we've had, and there's so many takeaways. I feel like so many people will. I really hope that it can resonate to anyone who is either following an artistic path or having personal goals, you know, reflecting on personal goals and looking into healing and trauma, you know, and yeah, just how it all connects is really fascinating. It's just so fascinating how, you know, you've been able to connect and see it for what it is, and in a very grounded way, you know, and not in a way that is like that this constant discovery, this constant learning, this constant, you know, growth, and that, you know, using tools has helped, you know, essentially in ways that could have prevented maybe, you know, people who might do things and act without being mindful, you know, kind of like decide. So I'm understanding that these tools and this level of self-reflection can really help you see yourself through the company of others, and and be able to follow your heart in a way that is aligned and not clouded by your traumas or your influences that are outside of you. And it's it's so I really appreciate the level of depth and richness you offer. So I've always appreciated that in our friendship, and it's always meant a lot. So yeah,
we've had a lot of deep conversations and very grateful for it too. I mean, I know that right now the focus was on me, I guess, and what I had to share. But whoever is listening to this, go listen to more from Wasim, because I know that you have also so much wisdom to share and offer. And encouragement. Like, you're very good at also encouraging people and seeing the light in them. And so thank you for everything that you do. And hopefully sharing more wisdom through films. I mean, not hopefully, you're gonna do it. But that's your way.
It's I mean, it's things are constantly evolving and changing, and I think that's where I've really appreciated having tools to be able to navigate changes. And sometimes these changes are external as well. So we don't know exactly how things are unfolding in the both industries. I mean, AI, I'm going to mention it briefly, but it's just like one of those big concerns in the arts. And I think that like that can be an example of how you are able to recognize that there are obstacles, that are challenges, and there are ways to use tools that could be beneficial. And I mean, that's a whole other topic. But, you know, it's just something, as you mentioned, like film and the changes in that, you know, I'm sure in the same in the same respect with music, there are lots of changes, and I feel like entering into something where you're conscious and you're able to offer something that's unique is just all the more reason to continue to do it, you know. And yeah.
And AI is never gonna have intuition, so
Yes, yeah.
so it's not
That's,
gonna be able
yeah.
to channel ideas like artists, like real artists can. So for those who are in search of meaning, I think AI can offer, like, it's a really great tool, but it's not gonna, it can only offer something if there's a human behind it, guided by his own intuition or her own intuition. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's a whole other
Yeah.
topic that's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks so much again, and look forward to
Thank you.
hearing your, you know, updates with your career. And you have a website, which, if you like, I can,
Yeah.
you know, put in the
I'm guessing
blurb.
you're able to put the link somewhere,
Yeah,
like my Instagram and my website. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So,
Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll speak soon. I'm sure we'll reconnect
Yes.
soon. Yeah. So grateful for
Bye,
this. Thank
Wesley.
you. Bye.